Hello, hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals. We're back again with Higurashi When They Cry, Onikakushi, or Demoned Away arc. So let's just go ahead and jump into Chapter 3.
Randy 君人形?
A Colonel Randy.
そりゃレナのツボだわな。
Of course, that's right up her alley.
レナがサトコやリカちゃんをお持ち帰りしたくなるのはわかる。
I understand her wanting to take home Satoko and Rika-chan.
だが、ランディ君人形だけは理解できないぞ。あんなメガネ親父のどこがいいんだ。
But I can't understand the Colonel Randy. What's so good about that four-eyed geezer?
そりゃあレナに直接聞けばいいじゃん。
Probably better to hear it from Rena, don't you think?
どうせ。だって可愛いんだもんしか言わないだろうけどさ。
She'll probably just say, because it's so cute, though.
レナはよくあそこ、工事現場のとこへ宝探しに行くのか？
Does Rena often go to the construction site to hunt for treasure?
ちょくちょく見に行くって言ってましたです。
Every now and then she says that she's gonna have a look.
しかし、年頃の女の子がゴミ漁りね。
But a girl her age rummaging around in garbage is, well...
レナが楽しいならいいんだと思いますです。
If Rena enjoys it, then I think it's fine.
あそこはなんだよ。
What were they doing over there?
ダムの工事現場だったのか？
Dam construction? It had been bugging me since yesterday, like an itch I couldn't scratch.
何年か前に中止になっちゃったけどね。
It was canceled a long time ago.
みんなで力を合わせて戦いましたです。
Everyone gathered together and fought against it. Hearing an ominous word like fought come from Rika-chan's mouth startled me.
そうそう。
That's right.
何しろとんでもない話だったんだよ。
It was unbelievable.
Hinamizawaが丸ごとダム湖に沈むことに一方的になってさ。
They said Hinamizawa would be sunk into the reservoir, and we had no say in the matter. So, I'm only able to be here because the protest succeeded.
ごめんね。
I'm sorry.
待たせちゃったかな。
I didn't keep you, did I?
申し訳ありませんわね、ケイチさん。お化粧直しに時間をかけちゃいまして。
My deepest apologies, Keiichi-san. It took me a while to powder my nose.
サトコ、便所には溜めてから行け。
Wait to use the can until you really have to go.
一気に出せて楽で早いぞ。
It's a lot easier since it shoots right out.
花も恥じらう乙女になんて口の利き方。
How dare you speak that way to a maiden of unparalleled beauty such as myself? Who was she calling a maiden? If Sadako really was a maiden, she wouldn't have reacted like that. The usual hijinks ensued.
さてと。
Now then,
今日は快速に乗っ取り、部員の諸君に是非を問いたい。
gentlemen, in accordance with the rules of our society, I bring a point to discussion.
彼、前原圭一君を新たな部員として我らの部活動に加えたいのだが、いかがだろうか。
He, Keiichi Maibara-kun, wishes to be included as a member in our activities. What say you?
レナは異議なーし。
Rena has no objection.
貧民風情が私の相手を務められるかしら。
I wonder if the likes of this peasant is up to the task.
僕もサトコも賛成しますですよ。
Me and Sadako both approve. The three that Mion had queried voiced their approval.
全会一致。おめでとう、前原圭一君。
A unanimous decision. Congratulations, Keiichi Maibara-kun.
君に栄えある 我が部への入部試験を許可する。
I present you the honor of being allowed to take the entrance exam for our club.
順を追って説明しろ。
Start from the beginning.
俺はまだ入るとは言ってないぞ。
I didn't say I would join.
何の部活だ？
What club is this?
我が部はだな。複雑化する社会に対応するため、活動ごとに提案される様々な条件下。
What our club does, you see. In order to cope with our complicated society, we perform various activities under different sets of rules.
時には順境、
Sometimes they are in your favor,
あるいは逆境からいかにして。
and sometimes they work against you.
レナは弱いからいじめないでほしいな。仲良くやろうね。
I'm pretty weak, so I'd prefer if you didn't single me out. Let's try to get along.
レナさんは甘えてますわ。
You're so naive, Rena.
弱い者は食い尽くされるのが世の常なのでございますわよ。
The law of the jungle is survival of the fittest. This was starting to sound a bit sketchy. So what kind of club was it?
つまりみんなでゲームして遊ぶ部活なのです。
To sum it up, it's a club where we play games together. Rika-chan was the only one to answer my question with a pertinent response. So basically this club put Mion's hobby of collecting games to use. By playing the various games that Mion had hoarded every day, it seemed that, depending on the day, there were prizes for the winner or a penalty for the person who finished in last place.
先に断っとくけど、ままごと遊びみたいなレベルじゃないからね。
I'll make this clear right now. We aren't playing house here.
一生いっぱいに命がかかってるくらい本気でかかった方がいいよ。
You should treat each win or loss as if your life depends on it, alright?
楽しくやれればいいじゃないか。
What's wrong with just having fun?
そう凄むなよ。
Don't make it sound so crazy.
快速第一条、狙うのは1位のみ。
The first rule of our society, aim only for first place.
遊びだからなんていういい加減なプレーは許さない。
Going at it half-assed just because it's just a game is not allowed.
快速第2条。
Rule number 2 of our society.
そのためにはあらゆる努力をすることが義務付けられておりますのよ。
For that reason, you are obligated to make all possible efforts. The way Sadako said it, it sounded like she was saying, use any means necessary.
もちろん僕も頑張りますです。
Of course, I will do my best too.
レナも弱いけどね、精一杯頑張ってるの。
I'm pretty weak, but I'm trying my best. I knew what they were trying to say. In a game where everyone is aiming for the top, it's rather unsportsmanlike to play just for fun.
よし、俺も本気でやってやるぜ!
Alright, then I too will go all out. With that, I was finally ready for the Rite of Initiation, my baptism into the club.
ケイちゃんに一応忠告ね。
A word of warning, Kate-chan.
レナも結構えげつないからね。
Rena can get pretty nasty. This initiation looks like it's going to be rough. Mion began fishing around in the student lockers in the back of the room. They have the games here at school? Well, it's club equipment, so I guess that's fine.
難しいゲームはケイちゃんだけに不利だからね。
Complicated games would put Kei-chan at a disadvantage.
今日は誰にでもわかるゲームにしよ
So today, we'll play a game that you should be familiar with.
う。スタンダードにトランプのじじ抜きはど
How about a standard card game, like Old Bachelor?
よし、受けてやるぜ!
Alright, let's do this.
う？やっぱり罰ゲームがないと思えないよね。
Can't really get into it unless there's a penalty.
今回はビリに顔面落書きの刑。どう？
This time, the loser will be sentenced to having their face drawn on. What do you think?
ああ、油性じゃないよね。
Lolo, it won't be a permanent marker, right?
油性じゃないよね。
Right? Permanent? She wants to draw on our faces with a permanent marker?
上等でございます。
That is perfect! Sadako cheered the idea on. She didn't even flinch at the thought of such a severe penalty. It seemed like she was raring to go. If it's going to be like this, then I can't lose either.
じゃあカード切ってみんなに配るね。
Then I'll just cut the deck and start dealing. Old Bachelor is pretty much the same as Old Maid. There's only one difference. There's no Joker. In its place, one card is pulled out at the start, meaning there will be one card without a match left over at the end. You don't know which card will end up being the Joker. It's a pretty thrilling game.
じゃあ1枚抜くね。
I'll take out the card now. Mion took out one card and left it face down on the table. Everybody stared at the card intently.
ま、終盤になればおのずとわかるし。
Well, it'll be pretty obvious in the end game.
最初はどうしようもないよな。
No way to tell at the start. But the rest of them were very serious. They didn't seem as relaxed as I was. They compared their cards to the one face down, all while gauging each other's reactions. It was as if they could see what the face down card was? No, couldn't be.
このトランプ、結構傷物だろ?
This deck is pretty worn out.
まさか、みんなにはその傷で、そこに伏せたカードがわかってる?
No way. Can everyone tell by the scratches on what the card on the table is?
快速第2条ですわ。
Remember the second rule of our society.
ケイチさんも勝つために最善の努力をなさいませ。
Keiichi-san must try his hardest to win as well.
いくつかのカードは特徴的だから、ケイチくんにもすぐ覚えられるよ。
A number of cards are quite unique. Keiichi should be able to... A number of cards are quite unique. Keiichi-kun should be able to remember them pretty quickly. She said that so matter-of-factly.
上等だぜ!
Suits me fine.
この程度でハンデになると思うなよ!
Don't think a little thing like that can be your crutch. I lashed out angrily, but it was rather obvious I was at a disadvantage. After all, they'd gone so far as to memorize the wear and tear for each individual card. This wasn't a simple game of Old Bachelor. If this was a test, then they were playing with the answer sheet right in front of them. Bring it. I'll take advantage of your carelessness and beat you at your own game. That baseless confidence would soon be crushed.
ケイちゃんの手札を右から言うぜ。
How about I tell you your hand starting from the right?
3、4、9、ジャック、クイーン。
3, 4, 9, Jack, Queen.
ちなみに、ジジはダイヤの J なのです。
By the way, the Bachelor is the Jack of Diamonds.
どうカードを入れ替えたって見え見えですわ。
I can tell what they are even if you switch them
上
around.
がりですな。
I'm out. I thought I was prepared, but for it to be this brutal, just overwhelming.
鬼だ。こいつらは鬼だ。
Demons. You're all demons.
レナは鬼じゃないよな。
Rena isn't a demon, are you?
ごめんね、ケイチくん。
Sorry, Keiichi-kun.
こっちがハートの3だよね。あがり。
This is the 3 of hearts, isn't it? I'm out. Not even a hint of mercy. Rena, even Rika-chan. These club activities weren't to be trifled with. An alumnus of this club would definitely survive in the cruelest of conditions. If our entire class had self-detonating collars strapped to their necks and were dropped into a death match on a deserted island, these guys would probably take to it like fish to water. I can already picture their joy as they hunt down each other I can already picture their joy as they hunt down each of their classmates.
ポイントは減点制ね。
It's a lowest point system.
着順がそのままマイナス点。トータルで一番少ない人が優勝。
The order itself dictates the points. Whoever has the lowest point total wins.
では圭一はビリなので5です。
Since Keiichi finished last, he has 5 points.
There's already a 5 mark down on my scoreboard.
やっぱりさ、綺麗なトランプでやらないと圭一くんに不公平だよ。
I think it's unfair to Keiichi-kun if we don't use a new deck.
いいのいいの。ケイちゃんだって男だし。
It's fine, it's fine. Kei-chan is a man after all.
これくらいの逆境は跳ね返せるよね。
He can turn the tables even if the odds are stacked against him, right?
貧民風情は逃げ帰って涙で枕を濡らすのがお似合いでございますことよ。
It's fitting for a lowly peasant to scamper home and soak their pillow in tears, don't you think?
A petite hand laid itself on top of my head, which was trembling from uncontainable frustration. It was Rika-chan's.
ファイト、おーです。
Keep on fighting, yeah?
Thanks to Rika-chan's words of encouragement, I was able to calm down. You need to be calm, especially when you're cornered. That's the power I could muster during this crisis. Think clearly, Keiichi Maibara. Take your time and look at the cards carefully. It's just as Nana said, several of the cards have their own distinct markings, making them stand out. Memorizing them should be pretty simple. Think about what you can do in this situation. Try everything in your power to improve your chances of victory.
わあ、うまいよ圭一くん。その調子。
Oh, great, Keiichi-kun, just like that.
I covered the uniquely marked cards with my hand or other cards, arranging them in such a way that they couldn't be seen.
角が割れているのは5だったはずです。
The one with the ripped corner should be the 5.
上がりましたです。
And I'm out.
I couldn't let any of those precious hints slip by me. All information is a weapon. Then it was my turn. Sadako fanned out her cards for me.
欲しいのは7なんだが。
See, I want the 7.
これかな。
Is it this one?
さてどうかしら。
I wonder about that.
聞いてみないとわかりませんことよ。
You won't know unless you take it.
There was a bit of dismay in her expression. Like she doesn't want it taken. That kind of expression. I won't let that momentary lapse slip by me.
見えた。
I know!
これだ。
It's this one. Got it! 7 of Spades. A cheer of ooh rang out.
なんですって？
What is this?
7は一番わかりにくいはずですのに。
The 7 should be the hardest one of all to tell apart.
Wasn't from memorizing the markings. Those slight changes in their expressions as I was selecting a card were enough.
ほら、ケイちゃん隠さない。
Can't hide it from me,
こ
Kei-chan.
の傷が確かダイヤの2だったよね。
This mark means it's the 2 of diamonds.
あれ？
Huh? She was startled by her own misread. Of course, everyone else was too.
あ、みーちゃんがカード間違えるなんて珍しいね。
It's rare that Mi-chan gets a card wrong.
違う。
No.
ケイちゃん、あんた、まさか。
Kei-chan, could it be you? They told them apart by different marks. That mark was a nail scratch. So I put a new one on it.
ダイヤの2を偽装したというですの？
Are you saying he disguised it as the 2 of diamonds?
味な真似をするでございますわ。
What an impressive show of wit!
圭一、一矢報いましたです。
Keiichi landed a clean hit.
Clap, clap, clap.
やったねケイチくん。
That's great, Keiichi-kun.
大前線だよ。
That was an incredible match, you know?
Having defeated the Forerunner Mion, my brilliant battle left me ecstatic. But by total points, it was already set in stone that Mion would win and I would finish last. I laughed haughtily, selecting the tone of my voice carefully to get Mion's nerves.
まあビリは確定だけどさ、最後にミオンから1本取れたから大満足かな。
Well, I'm gonna end up the loser, but I'm satisfied with one-upping Mion at the end. That should be the proverbial slap in the face to Mion, who is at the top already and ensured victory.
この回仮にケイちゃんが1着になってもトータルビリが確定するんだけど
Even
嫌で
if,
しょ
even if Kei-chan gets first place this round, he'll still end up at last place overall. Don't you hate that?
当たり前だ。
Of course I do.
一騎打ちしようよ。
Let's have a duel.
ワンチャンス。
One chance.
勝てたらケイちゃん1位で私ビリの大逆転なんてどう？
If
乗る
you
でしょ？
if you win, then we'll swap first and last place. How about it? You up for it? She fell for it. A chance for an upset that wouldn't be possible without goading her into it.
ワンチャンスだと？
One chance, you say?
ルールを説明しろ。
Let me hear the rules. Mion discarded 2 cards from her hand and replaced one with the Joker card that was on the table, then shuffled the resulting hand behind her back.
右手のカードと左手のカード
The card in my right or the card in my left?
どっちがジョーカーか当てたらケイちゃんの勝ち。
If Kei-chan can guess which hand the Joker's in, then he wins.
今後ろに回した時ジョーカーを抜いたってことはないだろうな。
When you turned around just now, you didn't pull out the Joker, did you?
ケイちゃんが負けたら反対の手のカードも公開するよ。
If you lose, I'll show you the card in the other hand.
それなら OK でしょ？
That okay? The other 3 gulped nervously at this unexpected turn of events.
よし
Alright,
乗ってやる。
you got it. Mion grasped one card in each hand and thrust them out at me. First, I needed to inspect them closely. The card on the right had no distinguishing marks. I couldn't tell which one it was.
どっちだろう。ケイチくん、慎重にね。
Which one, I wonder? Keiichi-kun, be careful.
ああもちろんだぜ。逆転の大チャンスだ。
Yeah, of course. This is my chance for a big comeback. Looking closely at the card on the left, I saw a little wear. It wasn't one I hadn't seen before.
あのカードは。
That card is...
I didn't let that bit from Sadako slip by me. Mion clucked her tongue. I didn't recognize the mark on the left card from the small number that I had memorized. I didn't know what the left card was, but I could tell from Sadako's reaction that the card had already appeared during the game. Since it had already appeared before, it meant that it definitely wasn't the Joker.
ケイちゃんは右のカードを疑ってる？
Kei-chan thinks it's the one on the right.
じゃあ右にする？
Will you choose that one then?
右？
Will ya? The left card definitely wasn't the Joker. If I could trust that theory, then I should have been able to declare that the card on... If I could trust that theory, then I should have been able to declare that the card on... If I could trust that theory, then I should have been able to declare that the card to the right was the Joker. Even without Mion's taunting, the one on the right was the most suspicious. But wasn't it a bit too rash to decide based solely on Sadako's reaction? More carefully. Ah! I remember now. That mark, the left card, no doubt about it. The 7 of clubs.
うん。きっとクローバーの7だね。
It's the 7 of clubs, I see.
I've won. The card on the left was the 7 of clubs. So that meant that the card on the right was the Joker. And then just before my hand touched the right card, I froze.
さすがミオンだよ。
I would expect no less from you. There was a wave of murmurs amongst the onlookers at my sudden halt, right before I confirmed the right card was the Joker.
ケイイチさんは何を言ってるのでございましょう。
What could Keiichi-san possibly be saying?
だって左
I mean, the left one is...
C です。
へえ。
Oh?
ケイちゃんはどうして右がジョーカーじゃないって確信できるの？
What makes you so certain that the right one isn't the Joker, Kei-chan? Mion let loose an unexpected question. Everyone else was baffled.
右のカードが何かは俺にもわからないさ。
I don't know what the card on the right could be.
だが、左のカードがクローバーの7だってことだけはわかる。
But I know that the one on the left is the 7 of clubs.
じゃあ残る右のカードがジョーカーなのじゃありませんこと？
Then, doesn't that leave the right one as the Joker?
必ず左右どっちかがジョーカーという約束でしょ？
One of them has to be the Joker, right?
ああ、
Yeah,
左右のどっちかにジョーカーがあるのは本当だろうな。
one of those is the Joker, right?
ケイイチは勘がいいです。
Keiichi has good intuition.
リカちゃん、それってどういう？
Rika-chan, what do you mean, Pai?
つまりさ、
So basically,
クローバーの7は
the 7 of clubs.
さっき俺がサトコのスペードの7と合わせて捨てたカードなんだよ。
I discarded that by matching it with Sadako's 7 of spades earlier. Everyone's attention snapped to the discard pile at the same time. The truth of the matter couldn't be discerned from that sloppy pile.
つまり
So that means
ミオンは捨て札を1枚拾って左のカードに重ねている。つまり
Mion pocketed one of the discarded cards. So that means Mion pocketed one of the discarded cards, then aligned it over the left card, and that means
そうか、わかった。
I see, I get it.
左のカードをクローバーの7に見せかけているんだね。
This left card is being disguised as the 7 of clubs, right?
it was the first time since the start of the match that a shadow ran across Mion's expression, and I didn't let that slip by. Then, with a grand flourish, I declared it loudly.
ジョーカーは左手だ
The Joker is left one! It was an intense moment. That 1 second felt like an eternity for everyone there. Breaking that silence, the first one to speak was Mion.
初代部長として私も様々なプレイングを見てきたけど、
Being the first president of this club, I've been witness to a variety of performances.
ケイちゃん、あんたはベストだよ。
Kei-chan, yours is the best.
ベストオブザベストオブザベスト。
The best of the best of the best! That was probably the greatest compliment Mion could give. Mion accepted her defeat, dropping the cards from both hands. My comeback victory! Rika-chan placed her hand on my head and began petting it, congratulating me on my victory.
Huh?
リカちゃんか？
Rika-chan is...
Rena and Sadako gaped at us, as if they'd seen a ghost.
なんだよレナ。別に俺はインチキしてないだろ。正々堂々と。
What is it, Rena? It's not as if I cheated or anything, right? This was fair and square.
リカは慰めるときにしか頭を撫でませんの。
Rika only pats someone on the head to console them.
Huh? What's the meaning of... At that moment, Rena let out a small shriek.
ケイイチくん、
how it was?
ケイちゃんならさ、
You know, Kei-chan,
ここまで読んでくれると思ってたよ。
I thought you'd read into it that far. Everyone froze. No, it was just me.
賭けだった。
It was a gamble.
ケイちゃんがおてんばさんの早とちりだったなら、負けてたのは私だった。
If you had just jumped to conclusions like a little brat, then I would have lost. It was the answer everyone was certain about. Mion picked up the card from the losing hand.
ケイちゃんはさ、この負けを誇っていいよ。
Kei-chan, you know, you should take pride in this loss. She turned it around. That was the card that proclaimed the victor of this duel. The card under the 7 of clubs. Unbelievable. With the 2 of diamonds. It was a setup behind the setup. If I just picked the right one without reading so deeply into it.
部長、園崎美音の名において、
I, Mion Sonozaki, as the club president,
前原圭一、
do accept
あんたの我が部への入部を許可する。
Keiichi Maibara's membership into our club. As I slumped to my knees, dazed, everybody let out a round of applause for the excellent effort I gave, despite my defeat.
これにて決着。
Match is now over.
本日の優勝は私、園崎美音。栄えあるビリは前原圭一。
The match is now over. Today's victor is me, Mion Sonozaki, and our exalted loser is Keiichi Maibara. Everyone made a commotion, applauding cheerfully. I felt I was bested, but I was so soundly beaten that it unexpectedly felt rather refreshing.
みーちゃんが後ろ手で細工した時、またやるんだって思ってドキドキしちゃった。
When Mi-chan pulled that little trick behind her back, I got excited thinking she's going to do it again.
ケイイチさんが正解に触れる直前で止まった時にはかかったって思いましたわ。
When Keiichi-san stopped the moment before touching the correct card, I thought he fell for it.
見事に引っかかってくれましたです。
He fell for it quite handily.
Huh? Hey, wait. All of them knew from the start and still got so excited so earnestly?
楽しくなるようにみんなで盛り上げましたですよ。
Everyone got excited to make it more fun.
You.
お前らみんな鬼だ！人手なし！
You're all demons! You monsters!
さて、ケイちゃんに罰ゲームだね。
Now then, Kei-chan, it's time for your penalty.
今日は部活の初日だしね。
Since it's your first day participating,
ソフトに行こうかね。
I'll go easy, okay?
いきなり登校拒否になられちゃ困るし。
It would be a problem if you refused to come to school. The other 3 members held down my arms and shoulders firmly. Mion approached, licking her lips. Her right hand went to pull something out of her pocket. That's a felt-tip marker, and it's a giant permanent one.
さて、行くよ。
Okay, here we go. She took the cap off the marker and brought it slowly up to my face while I was immobilized.
いや、やめろー！
No! I let out my death throes. As soon as the club activities were finished, Rena flew off. Probably so she could dig out that cute Colonel Randy that she wasn't able to take home yesterday. So today it was just Mion and me walking home together, a rather rare occurrence.
宝の山か。
Mountain of treasure, huh?
捨ててる連中もまさかレナに感謝されてるとは夢にも思わないだろうね。
The guys throwing it away probably never thought in their wildest dreams that Rena would be grateful to them. Mountain of treasure, meaning that damn construction site from before. Oh right, Mion would probably tell me. That murder by dismemberment that seemed to have happened there.
あそこさ、ダムの工事現場。
Over there, you know, at that damn construction site.
なんかあったんだろ？
Did something happen over there?
昔。
Long ago?
そりゃあったよ、戦いが。
Something sure did. A grand battle.
座り込みやったりデモをやったり。
There were sit-ins and demonstrations. It was a bit different from what I wanted to hear, but I decided I'd listen just the same.
自分たちの土地がダム湖に沈むんだもんな。
It was our land that was going to be sunk into the dam reservoir.
俺だって戦うだろうな。
I would have fought as well, probably.
役人どもは本当に一方的だった。
The government guys were really adamant about it,
偉そうで威張ってた。
acting all big and full of themselves.
金で解決できないと悟ると、あらゆる嫌がらせをしてきたんだよ。
Since they figured out that they couldn't settle it with money, they'd had a bunch of nasty stuff.
いやらしい奴らだった。
They were nasty guys. Mion spoke excitedly, as if the whole thing was happening right in front of her.
よく勝てたな。相手は国だろ？
I'm amazed you guys won. You were facing the federal government, right?
村長や村の有力者たちがね、方々に陳情した。
The mayor and prominent figures in the village all signed petitions.
東京にも行ったし、いろんな政治家に根回しもした。
They went to Tokyo and struck deals with legislatures.
そうしてるうちに計画は撤回されたんだよ。
And as a result, the development plan was retracted.
私たちの完全勝利だった。
It was our complete victory.
暴力沙汰とかにはならなかったのか？
There wasn't any violence, was there?
傷害事件とか殺人。
Like assaults or murders?
なかった。
None. She promptly cut me off. The same as Rana had. Her words signaled the end of discussion. Tomitaka-san said one arm wasn't found in the incident. I thought that a murder by dismemberment had occurred, but I guess I was wrong. My curiosity unsated, I sighed dejectedly inside.
じゃあね。また明日ね。
Later, see you tomorrow.
ケイちゃんそれ、うちに帰るまで消しちゃダメだからね。
Gei-chan, you can't watch that off until you get home, got it?
わかってるよ。消さねえよ。
I got it, I won't. Mion held back her laughter while stealing glances at my face. I wonder what kind of nasty doodles they drew. Damn you, Mion. You shall rue this day. If our roles are ever reversed, I'm going to go all out. All over your face so you won't be able to take it off, even with a scouring pad. Upon arriving home, I ran straight into my mom, embarrassing myself yet again. The mood I'd come home to was already on edge. It's not an uncommon thing in our family. Whenever Dad can't come up with a good idea, it always ends up like this. He stomps around the house with his arms crossed. Mom whispered into my ear.
おかえり、ケイチ。お父さん大変そうだから、そっとしてあげてね。
Welcome home, Keiichi. Dad, he's in a bit of a rut right now, so don't bother him, okay?
またアイデアに詰まったわけ？
He can't come up with a new idea?
今回は締め切りが重なったからね。
It's because the deadlines are so close together this time.
お父さん充電期間がないと大変だから。
Your dad needs time to recharge or he doesn't work as well. Dad's paintings feed our whole entire family. If he runs out of ideas, then it's the end of the Maibaras. We've never gone hungry before. Could it be that my dad is a master painter?
家の中をうろうろしないで表に散歩でも行った方がアイデアが出るんじゃねえの？
Wouldn't it be easier to get an idea taking a walk outside rather than wandering around the house?
今回は生活空間がテーマだから、
The theme of the piece this time is in the
お
household.
父さんこの家をモチーフにしたいみたい。
So it seems your dad wants to use this house as a motif. That's quite a bothersome motif.
圭一、部屋の中を少しは片付けなさい。みっともないぞ。
Keiichi, tidy your room for once in a while. It looks terrible.
ごめん後で片付けるよ。
Sorry, I'll clean it up later. Ah, come on. Please don't use my room as the motif.
ケイチ、お夕飯までまだ時間があるから、
Keiichi, there's still some time before dinner.
表でも散歩してらっしゃい。
So please go take a walk out back or something. Dad's moods are only temporary. As soon as he gets an idea, his mood improves and he starts humming. Until then, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just go take a walk so I don't aggravate him further.
じゃあそうするかな。
Well, I guess I will then. I said I was going to take a walk, but I didn't have any particular destination in mind. I just needed to kill some time. I got on my bike and pondered where to go. I could just go read at the bookstore, but it would take about an hour by bike to get into town. It would be dark by the time I got back, so I didn't want to go unless I had to. The roads at night here in Hinamizawa creep me out. If Mion or Satoko ever found out about that. I smiled wryly. Oh yeah. Nana was probably still at the Mountain of Treasure, the dam construction site. The excavation of Colonel Randy was probably taking her a while. It wouldn't be so bad to have her owe me one.
次の部活の時に恩返ししてもらえるかもしれないしな。
She might return the favor next time we have club activities. With a little bit of self-interest in mind, I set off towards the dam construction site. Tomitaka-san might be there too. The only person with information about the incident that both Rana and Mion denied knowing anything about. If I met him again, I'd like to ask for more details. To ask, was there really a dismemberment here in Hinamizawa? That was my real intention. I spotted Rana struggling up on the slope of the garbage pile. It looked like Colonel Randy was lodged in there pretty firmly. It didn't look like Rana would be able to excavate him by herself. Realizing that Tomitaka-san wasn't around, I began climbing down the slope unsteadily.
よーレナ、
Hey, Rana.
精が出ますな。
Looks like you're working up a sweat.
ケイチくん、
Whoa, whoa, Keiichi-kun!
どうしたのこんなところへ。
What brings you to a place like this?
A place like this, huh? I see. She was aware of it at least.
事故発生の緊急通報を受け参上しました。
I received a signal for emergency assistance at the accident site.
負傷者はどこでありますか？
Where is the urgent party?
事故って、
Accident, huh?
ランディ君人形がゴミ山に生き埋めになっているとの通報でしたが。
But there was a report Colonel Randy was buried alive in the trash pile.
なんだ、びっくりした。
Huh? Oh, that. You scared me.
ケイチくん脅かさないでよ。
Don't frighten me like that, Keiichi-kun.
冗談だよ。
I was just kidding.
レナが一人で困ってるだろうなって思ってさ、
I thought
手
you
伝い
might
に来てやったんだよ。
I thought you might be struggling by yourself, so I came to help you out.
レナのために？
You came for me?
Well, I filled my quota for today. If I don't see Rana blush at least once a day, then I'm not getting my daily required nutritional intake.
冗談だよ。こっちまで恥ずかしくなるだろう。
Just kidding. You're embarrassing me now.
冗談ってどこからだろう？
What part was the joke? What part was it?
I just ignored her bewilderment.
俺どいた。
Okay, now move out of the way.
で、どこだよ、ランディ君は。
So where is Colonel Randy?
あ、ごめん。
Sorry.
ほら、この隙間から見える？
Can't you see him in that gap?
こりゃ本当に生き埋めだな。
He's really buried in there. The Colonel Randy was sideways, surrounded by boards and other construction materials, like they were caging him inside. According to Nana, it wasn't like this yesterday. It seems as though another illegal dumper came yesterday, dumped again, and now he's buried like this.
この山を一人でどけるつもりだったのか？
You're trying to move this pile all by yourself?
その細い腕で。
With those scrawny arms? There's no way she would be able to do that with her slender arms.
でも、ランディ君人形可愛いんだもん。
But Colonel Randy, so cute.
お店のランディ君には鎖がついてるけど、これならお持ち帰りできる。
There's a chain on the Colonel Randy at the store. This one, though, I should be able to take this one home. Hello.
If Rena gave up on this Colonel Randy, she'd probably start devising a plan to steal the one in front of the store. As Rena's guardian, I won't allow her to sully her hands with crime.
どいてろよ。俺がやる。
Out of the way, I'll do it. Nana blushed again, but this time I left it alone. The pile was enormous. Also, the more days we wasted, the more likely another illegal dumping would occur. If it got buried any deeper, there would be nothing that could be done.
ケイチ君、レナも手伝えるよ。手伝わせて。
Keiichi-kun, I'll help too. Let me help.
帰って邪魔になるから下がってろって。
You'd just get in the way, so stay back.
よいしょー。
Pulling out scraps, bending them, tossing them aside. I quickly became covered in sweat and dust. Flying objects drew beautiful arcs across the twilight sky, one after another. Lumber, timber, plywood. Damn it. No matter how much I threw out, there was still more. Even though I could see Colonel Randy right there. After grandstanding like that in front of Rena, I felt frantic because of how little I had progressed.
本気でやるなら、斧とかノコギリとかがいるかもしれねえな。
If I was going to do this seriously, I'd need an axe or saw or something.
もういいよ、ケイチ君。
That's enough, Keiichi-kun.
すごい汗だよ。
You're so sweaty.
そんな、無理しなくてもいいよ。
You don't have to try so hard.
レナのためにやってるだけだ。
I'm just doing it for you, Rena.
気にするな。
Don't worry about it. Rena began sputtering and turned beet red. Whoops. I meant to say I was trying my best as to keep her from becoming a criminal. Oh well.
さすがに休憩。
I guess I just need a break.
こいつは手強いぜ。
This is pretty tough. I sprawled on my back over the grassy slope.
ごめんね、ごめんね。
I'm so sorry.
すごい汗だく。
You're covered in sweat.
Rana patted her handkerchief against my forehead. It felt pretty nice.
あのさ、ちょっとここで休んでてね。
Well, wait here a minute, okay?
私、家近いから。
My house is pretty close.
麦茶とか持ってきてあげるね。
I'll bring you some barley tea, okay?
Leaving the handkerchief on my forehead, Rana took off running. The cries of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. After I was certain Rana was gone, I picked myself up and headed toward what I'd discovered earlier. That was a garbage pile of magazines and newspapers bound up in twine. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe it was around here. There it was. They were bound stacks of not-so-reputable tabloids. They were stacked chronologically, going back quite a few years. It was a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms. If it was just as Tomitaka-san had said, then undoubtedly there would be mention of the murder. These are troubled times. There is no end to these sickening incidents. There's a large part of society drawn in by these incidences as well. So it had to be recorded somewhere. I unfastened the packages and opened the rain-soaked pages carefully, looking over the table of contents. Not here. Next one. Not here. Next one. It was hard to search since I didn't know when it happened. I didn't know who the perpetrator or the victim was either. I only knew that it had happened here. I looked up every so often, checking to see if Nana had come back or not. I wouldn't want her to see me gawking at a dirty magazine, but it wasn't just that. Both Nana and Mion said they didn't know, but it had happened without a doubt, as long as Tomitaka-san wasn't lying. And if both Rana and Mion, yeah, there was. If they had just said that, then I wouldn't have gotten so hung up on it. An incident that neither Rana nor Mion wished to talk about. Trying to uncover it after they had tried to conceal it out of good intentions. That made me feel like I was acting against my friends. Hinamizawa Dam worker lynching, murder by dismemberment. Here it is. The featured article was in the back, and it seemed that there was a photograph in the colored pages at the front. The pages of the featured article were stuck together and weren't easy to open. Nana could return at any moment. Feeling rushed, I gave up and opened the photograph page. The police investigators were carrying a body bag, and newspaper reporters were all bathing it in camera flashes. The image was blurry and hard to understand, but I could definitely make out the headlines. A tragic nightmare at the Hinamizawa construction site, lynching and murder/dismemberment. The victim was the site foreman. He had assaulted his assailants daily with an explosive backlash from his daily actions. It's a horrible image to see the site foreman as. It happened. It really did happen. It seemed the details were on the next page. I turned the page without pausing. On it was: the assailants butchered the victim's body with hatchets and pickaxes, then used an axe to split the cadaver into 6 pieces: the head, arms, leg, and torso. I could understand just from the headline that it was just too terrible an incident. Normally a lynching is just assault and murder, right? Dismemberment with hatchets and pickaxes. That wasn't a lynching. That was a merciless killer. It was a merciless killing to the letter, a brutal murder, done by a group of people with hatchets, with pickaxes, with a hatchet.
うわー
ごめんなさい。
So sorry.
驚いたかな？驚いたかな？
Did I startle you? Did I startle you?
Rena dropped the hatchet she was holding onto the grass after being startled by my voice.
ケイチくんね、さっきほら、斧とかがあると便利だって言ったじゃない？
Keiichi-kun, you see, earlier, yeah, you said it would help if you had an axe or something, didn't you?
それでね、レナ、物置からちゃんとナタ持ってきたんだよ。
So then I brought a hatchet for you from the shed.
Rena fluttered her arms in a panic, continuing to explain and apologize. It seemed I'd been glaring at her pretty intensely.
ごめん。ちょっとオーバーに驚きすぎたかな。
I'm sorry. I guess my reaction was a bit overboard.
こっちこそごめんね。ごめんね。
No, I'm sorry as well. I'm sorry.
Night was drawing close. I was pretty worn out, and it wouldn't hurt to do the rest
最後の
tomorrow.
針はそのナタじゃないと壊せそうにない。
Doesn't look like we can break that last beam without that
せっかく
hatchet.
持ってきてくれたんだし、明日借りるよ。な。
You brought it after all. I'll have to borrow it tomorrow, alright?
Okay.
何しょんぼりしてるんだよ。明日にはランディ君が掘り出せるんだぜ。
Why do you look so glum? Tomorrow we'll be digging out Colonel Randy, right?
そうだよね。
You're right.
早くランディ君をお持ち帰りしたい。
I really want to take Colonel Randy home soon.
We both knew it was useless to apologize any more than that. I quenched my thirst with the barley tea Rena brought and wiped the sweat that had now gone cold. We took the path to head home. I felt quite guilty about the tabloid wrapped up in my jacket. New tips unlocked. The Hinamizawa Dam Project Special Tabloid Report. Let's go ahead and view those new tips. The Hinamizawa Dam Project. October 1975. In accordance with the Prime Minister's Bulletin Number X, Hinamizawa's Electrical Development Master Plan was announced. The vast scope of the projected Hinamizawa Dam was to have an incredibly heavy impact on the village of Hinamizawa. The area was to be flooded by the Hinamizawa Dam would include the 5 areas of Hinamizawa, Takatsudo, Kyotsu, Matsumoto, and Yagochi. The submerged area would include 291 houses, population 1,251, 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, 1 post office, 1 agricultural cooperative, 1 forestry department lumberyard, 5 shrines, 2 temples, and 1 fishery. All these communal, cultural, agricultural areas and places of worship were to be indefinitely submerged at the bottom of the artificial lake basin. Forsaking the hundreds of years our ancestors poured their blood and sweat into this fertile, resource-rich land was just too painful to bear. All the residents having homes that were to be submerged banded together and created the Onikakushi Defense Alliance. The dam project was halted and petitions to alter the plan were circulated. The citizens sought peaceful negotiations, but the government and its puppet company X openly refused. Performing unspeakable, heinous acts, they quashed the democratic actions of the villagers. But the villagers did not falter. Instead, they banded together even more closely and steeled their resolve to protect their homes to the death. The continuation of that frightening Hinamizawa Dam construction project is still stalled as of today. The villagers understand that the stalling was caused by sublime power through unity, and they understand that this fearsome plan has not yet been fully withdrawn. The Onikakushi Defense Alliance had been dissolved after it did its part, but the feelings of unity it garnered have not yet been distinguished. The Onikakushi Defense Alliance had been dissolved after it did its part, but the feelings of unity it garnered have not yet been extinguished. As long as that passion resides in the hearts of the residents, they'll be able to confront whomever next decides to sink their homes into a lake basin. Onikakushi Defense Alliance Committee Chairman Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. Special tabloid report. Nightmare befalls the Hinamizawa Dam. Lynching and murder/dismemberment. On X day of X month in X prefecture, at the Hinamizawa Dam construction work site in Shishibone City, a bone-chillingly gruesome murder/dismemberment. Even though this case has shocked the archipelago, the police will give no details on the case. Exactly what happened at the Hinamizawa Dam? They probably didn't mean to kill him at first. But as the victim resisted by swinging around a shovel, the rest of the perpetrators armed themselves in return, and it quickly escalated to homicide. So said the aforementioned investigator A. After this bloody tragedy was over, they were left with a body which nobody could have mistaken as alive. X-san had tormented the suspects daily with his rough behavior. At first it was meant to be a payback. All the perpetrators were horrified by their deed, and one even turned himself in to the police. It was the de facto leader of this group, X, who suggested hiding the body. Reluctantly at first, they soon began to think they did not wish to be caught. The construction site had numerous places to hide the body with 6 people. They were originally supposed to hide the body and leave the area, but the de facto leader feared that the consciences of the other 5 wouldn't be able to bear the burden, and came up with a horrifying method to keep them from turning him into the police. He devised the heinous method of splitting up the body among them and making them each responsible for hiding a piece. X had turned a simple manslaughter into a gruesome dismemberment and forcibly involved each perpetrator in order to create a sense of unity between them. Each one participated. But what does this mean? Person A spoke out reluctantly. X had ordered each and every one of them to dissect a piece for themselves. They were hesitant at first, but nobody refused. In for a penny, in for a pound, was what it meant. Thus, an unimaginable bloody ceremony began. The perpetrators wept and vomited as they performed the gruesome task. There was one person who stubbornly refused, but X threatened them, saying nothing would change if someone else ended up dead, and he gave up in his objections. But X's plan collapsed in the span of one night. X, who who had refused to dissect the corpse up until the last moment, had broken down into tears at the hospital where he was being treated for an injury sustained during the scuffle and confessed. The criminals were arrested, one after the other, but the de facto leader's X's whereabouts are still unknown. Also, the right arm hidden by X has yet to be found. Despite an ongoing search, this horrible individual has so far managed to elude law enforcement. What could the police be doing? It appears that X had said he was going to throw the body, the right arm that is, into the marsh. X's car was discovered abandoned near the marsh, but there were no clues to his whereabouts. X didn't trust his companions. One cannot deny the possibility that he expected his companions to confess to the police and used his car as a decoy. Of course, I doubt that theory. Since he has no car, one would expect him to have a limited area to which he could have escaped to. But within the station, there were rumors going around that he had accidentally slipped and drowned in the marsh when he went to throw away the body piece. To the locals, that marsh is believed to be bottomless. It is known as Onikakushi, the ogre's abyss, and it's said that the bottom of the marsh is connected to the hellish world of demons. This atrocious demon from hell that was X. Could it be that he had returned to the hell through the marsh?
The Zijian dragon, bringer of luck and fortune, prosperous future, ladies leaping into your arms, business success, promotions, ambition, protection from harm. Not just with pachinko and horse races, but business and even love, guaranteed or your money back. Zijian dragon bracelet DX one piece. 27,800 yen.
That is going to be all for today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Higurashi When They Cry Oni. That is going to be all for today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of... That is going to be all for today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Higurashi When They Cry Onikakushi. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Bye.